Hey, my name's Crusty. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm an amateur game dev, and I want to show you a game I'm making. You work a 9 to 5 retail job, scanning and bagging groceries, in the great city of Valeria, the high fantasy home to knights, wizards, mercenaries, and dragons. It's a pixel art styled job simulator, where instead of being the hero yourself, you play as a young wizard burdened under 40,000 coins worth of debt. Therefore, you decide to work as the air quotes retail employee of a mean old shopkeeper. And that's the game. So, I've got a problem. As you can see here, some of the main game mechanics is, of course, scanning groceries itself, putting groceries inside of the two bags you see there, and using the computer screen and using the keypad and just getting everything perfectly. It's very much Papers, Please, Papa's Freezeria. Those were my two main inspirations. So, turning art into usable game mechanics. How do you do it? If you came here to get an answer from me, I sure as hell don't know, because I have never coded in my entire life. So if you're looking for a more technical side of things, I definitely don't have you on there, but I do have an idea of what's fun for me. And two things. The first thing I really need to develop is how the hell are the groceries going to work? I'm going to need to create many assets for different kinds of groceries. I'd have to randomize them to each customer. Maybe I'd make them personalized, but that's a lot of work. I'm focusing on the basics right now, which is when I was working at my retail job, I noticed that sometimes flipping groceries was sometimes the best way to bag and scan things. If you've ever played an interior design sort of game, then you've noticed that there are often squarular spaces that you can flip things to put them there for it to fit, and for you to not just spam assets and have them all melting into each other, going every which way, just not the best thing to do. There is value to putting a limit on these things, and especially during my job, you had a specific method of putting groceries inside bags, which I really want to implement into this game. It's essentially a sort of stacking inventory management sort of things, except with the grocery bags. And I intend to have better stacked things have more points, while carelessly stacked things get less points. That will attribute to the customer satisfaction bar that you see on the far right-hand side. What I am still deciding with the customer satisfaction bar is that, am I going to have it like Papa's Freezeria, where it's a culmination throughout the day, or do you master each individual customer? I think Papa's Freezeria already does this pretty well, where you get a percentage at the end of every customer, and you get to see, okay, like, did I earn a star with this customer or not? Like, am I mastered on this specific person? While the end of the day results is sort of your mastery of the whole thing. That is a really good way of satisfying that goopy gamer completionist mindset, where you're like, okay, I still got more to work on with this customer. Like, you can see your incremental progress throughout the game, which I think is very valuable. I also want to use Papers, Please as an example, where you do get repeat people at the border checkpoint, which kind of makes it gives it a sense of continuity. Like, this, I come here and the people may disappear after this, but some of them will come back because they are people, real people inside of the game. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused about what to do with the customer satisfaction thing, because I could do it like Papers, Please, where there isn't really a mastery of each person. There's only actually a few people who return to the checkpoint at a time, because it makes sense. Not everybody has 6 days to wait in line, but especially with grocery stores, people return there pretty often, like once per week. So maybe I could do it the way Papa's Freezeria does it, where you can have mastery of the customer because they're repeat customers, but have it incremented week per week. I want to talk a little bit. I should talk a little bit about how art translates to game mechanics specifically. Art as game mechanics has to be crystal clear. You have to know exactly what you want. You have to know exactly what the player is going to focus on and exactly what they're not going to focus on. So this has always bothered me about games a lot, actually, where everything is super detailed. It's gorgeous, but the background blends in with what you're actually supposed to be playing. It gives me a headache because I enjoy that with art, but if I'm going to be looking for a game for multiple hours at a time, then I want it to be at the very least, comfortable experience to look at the game. What I'm planning to do specifically is I'm planning to make the grocery area. Now, this is a big aspect of what I've been thinking of. I want the grocery area to be very cool-toned, while the back is vibrant and with rich browns and purples and greens for the groceries. And this is where my experience with art really helps me, because in art, you're naturally supposed to focus the viewer's attention at one point so that they aren't overwhelmed with multiple points at once. For games, it's the same thing, except it's just a bit more important, because games are, in the end, a teaching experience. You need to teach your players. And to teach your players things, you can't only be focused on, oh, what can I make the prettiest? It's maybe what can I make the most apparent? It's what can I emphasize the most? So I believe that's why you see in animation and in game design, you see that there is a sacrifice of detail for better game mechanics. And that's another reason why I'm not really that much into very realistic games, because it's a bit overwhelming where I want my attention to be pigeonholed into the specific topic at hand where I'm learning something. And that's not to say very realistic games can't teach anything, but I want to be taught an idea or a game mechanic. I don't really want to be taught about how pretty the environment can be. I can just go outside. Well, I think that's all for the video today. I just wanted to talk sort of disorganizedly about my thought process so far in turning my art into a usable game. And there's definitely going to be more of that with the actual coding part, which will be the most important part of it, if I can just manage to get through this concept art. This was Crusty. Thank you for watching.